Hey guys, we're 18. I'm Hernan, as you may know.
I'm Harriet. I'm Ellie.
I'm George.
And I'm Matt.
And we've been assigned to describe the management challenges faced by IBM and Microsoft, and whether if it's possible in any way for them to maintain their leadership in the 21st century. In order to align ourselves with the technology innovation issue, we created a video, BBC News style. Here's a small history which summarizes more than a century of innovation. IBM was initially established in New York in 1911 by German immigrant Hermann Hollerith as a computing, tabulating and coding company. After merging four major computing and tabulating companies that trace its history back to the 19th century. After expanding around the world, in 1924 the company was renamed International Business Machines Corporation, IBM, which emphasized this internationalization. IBM became famous for being the first in creating magnetic tape storage, which credit cards, floppy disks and hard drives use, the first electronic computers, and local area networks, which started the internet. In 1991, IBM collaborated with Intel and Microsoft to introduce personal computers for small businesses, schools and homes. Followed by a big drop in demand because of struggle with competitors, in 1993, Louis B. Gessler Jr., its new CEO, made sure the companies stick together and the innovative culture was preserved. With less focus in traditional consumer demand, today, IBM's strength lies in its combined expertise in solutions, services, products, and technologies, and they hold the record for the most data generated by a company for the last 20 years. Now let's move on to Microsoft. Microsoft is recognized as the most successful software company in the industry. Over the years, they have pioneered the PC and revolutionized the computer industry. Microsoft was founded in 1975 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. When they were students, Gates and Allen wrote the basic interpreter for the Intel 8080. By the end of 1976, more than 10,000 Altaires were sold. However, Microsoft's outstanding success came through fitting IBM's PCs with the DOS in 1981 and non-IBM PCs with MS-DOS. In 1990, Windows 3.0 was enormously popular, and followed by Windows 95 and Windows NT, Microsoft cemented their leadership. Although many do not think of it as such, Microsoft is a very large hardware company. Revenues from mice, keyboards, Xboxes, and other devices exceeded $5 billion.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us today. On the show with me today is Roy Selin-Jones, the BBC's technology correspondent. He'll be answering questions on the challenges faced by IBM over the years and how they plan to dominate the 21st century. So my first question, Roy, in your opinion, what has been the single biggest challenge faced by IBM?
Well, there are several key challenges IBM have faced in the past. The principal challenge for me is their reconstructing of the management strategy in 1993. The CEO at the time, Lou Gerstner, made the significant move from a red ocean to a blue ocean strategy. This essentially meant moving away from existing markets and competition and developing a market niche in innovative sectors via excessive patent applications. For example, in 2012, the number of patents issued to IBM was near 6,500 compared to just 1,087 in 1993. This is more clearly illustrated on the graph shown. Patents ensure continued innovation and focus on research and development.
In an article by Forbes, it's been said that IBM has lost market share in recent times in the cloud industry. What can you attribute these losses to?
In IBM's mission statement, it does not reflect the fact that customers and clients are not at the front and centre of IBM's thinking. Thus, IBM has still not succeeded in institutionalizing listening to its clients and customers as a central thrust of its culture. This contradicts the principle defined and communicated by IBM's chairman, which stated that IBMers should be dedicated to giving our customers the best possible service. Maybe this is not mentioned in the mission statement, as it comes embedded within the company's culture.
You mentioned in your answer to the first question that there are several key issues faced by IBM. Could you give a brief insight into any of these challenges?
Part of moving from red to blue ocean was due to IBM's struggle in the competitive market. IBM created a partnership with its consumer star product, the 360, and Microsoft's DOS system in order to boost customer demand. Because the partnership was non-exclusive, IBM did not take into account potential clones that could have made the same move with Microsoft. This provoked Big Blue's move to the Blue Ocean strategy. IBM's focus on business service provider has struck trustworthy relationships with the largest firms, such as Walmart, PwC, HSBC, and even Apple and Microsoft. Patent ownership has proven to be successful as well, and it is making it to red ocean since it has become more visible, as seen with the Apple-Samsung patent war.
Moving on from IBM's challenges, how do you see them faring in the 21st century?
Well, the management picture for IBM is mixed. There are parts of the company that are at the cutting edge of 21st century radical management, while other parts are still set in the 20th century thinking. This mixture demonstrated in IBM's share price over the past 10 years, in which IBM are not yet benefiting from exponential gains of firms like Apple that have fully adapted to the principles of radical management. If IBM wants to continue to survive another 100 years, it will be obliged to go beyond one-shot adaptations and make radical changes to its management practices in order to adapt on a continual basis, not just in times of major crisis, as the number of unexpected market shifts is likely to increase.
I'm here with Rory Selin-Jones, BBC's technology correspondent, to talk about the management challenges faced by Microsoft. Good afternoon, Rory.
Good afternoon. Microsoft's use of stack ranking as a management system is arguably the main reason for their recent challenges. Stack ranking is a program that forces every unit to declare a certain percentage of employees as top performers, good performers, average, and poor. According to former employees, this management system is the most destructive process inside of Microsoft, as it has led to employees competing with one another rather than focusing on competing with the other companies.
In a recent article published by Vanity Fair named The Lost Decade of Microsoft, Kurt Itchenwald explores the astonishingly foolish management decisions that are to blame for Microsoft's crippling inability to innovate. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes. Microsoft's stack ranking strategy is outdated, and it's time for the company to innovate this. If you look at other companies such as Google and Apple, who use a far more laissez-faire approach to management, which enables their employees to act more creatively. Employees in these companies are managed in a way in that they are placed in work groups whereby they work as a team with their manager's trust. This can be compared to McGregor's Theory Why, which states that employees are self-motivated and exercise self-control, finding that working in the right conditions is rewarding.
So you agree that the main concern for Microsoft's future is how they will adapt their management strategy?
In the past 8 years, Microsoft's market share has fallen from 95% to 20%, and a huge reason for this is the fact that they have failed to manage innovation and keep up with the changing consumer demand. It's quite amazing to see how far Microsoft have fallen considering how far ahead they were. Microsoft's management layout makes it difficult for innovative thinking to blossom due to the company's loyalty to Windows and Office, which has kept them from jumping on innovative technologies.
Companies such as Apple and Google's focus on the management of innovation has set them up as leaders of technology going into the 21st century. Why have Microsoft failed to keep up?
It's definitely not a case of Microsoft failing to recognise these innovations. Instead, it's a failure to recognise their potential and to take risks. According to a former employee, they prefer to remain anonymous. Microsoft discourages many employees from taking the kinds of risks necessary to regain its competitive edge and to innovate in truly meaningful ways. Microsoft's definition of innovation, for most of its product groups, is anything that preserves the status quo. If we look at Microsoft's management stance in terms of the diffusion of innovation, it can be argued that they fall under the umbrella of the late majority, and maybe even laggards. Moving into the 21st century, Microsoft have remained in their comfort zone and only innovated when the majority of their competitors have already taken the risks and Microsoft can play it safer. This, in my opinion, should not be the approach of a leading technology firm in the 21st century. Apple, for example, have been creating hardware and software together, and it is not a coincidence that Microsoft have made the same shift with the Surface tablet that have recently released.
Do you think this change has come too late for Microsoft?
Time will tell. There will be more challenges that face Microsoft than just the need to innovate, such as their management strategy and how the market will respond to their new products. Kurt Massey, a former senior marketing manager, sums up where Microsoft currently are positioned in that the company just isn't cool anymore. This is the main thing they need to address moving forward in the 21st century.
Seen Apple's new CEO, Tim Cook, having very positive reviews with his new agenda supporting US-sourced manufacturing. Would you argue Microsoft's last CEO, Steve Ballmer, doesn't live up to the company's management culture?
There is a mixed opinion on Ballmer's status and responsibility of Microsoft. However, I believe that what matters is what people experienced in the company say. Last year, a few of Microsoft's shareholders asked Ballmer to resign. Last week, Bill Gates said that what Microsoft is doing is not enough. The 21st century needs a transformational leader, someone who would intellectually stimulate, have more individualised consideration, have more inspirational motivation, and have an idealised influence.
Thank you for joining us, Rory.
So, in conclusion, we'd say that both companies have faced and will continue to face a number of different challenges in the future, in particular the following.
The restructuring of the management strategy. IBM has done this with the move from Red Ocean to Blue Ocean. However, in comparison, Microsoft's use of stack ranking has arguably reduced their productivity. Perhaps McGregor's theory Y could be adopted and a more laissez-faire approach to management therefore be taken.
The challenge faced by both companies is the failure to communicate with their customers, as is seen with their fall in market share. Microsoft could take a more innovative approach, as they often appear in the diffusion of innovation theory to be late adapters, whilst IBM might rethink their mission statement in order to become a more customer-orientated company.
The increasing competition in the dynamic, fast-moving technology market is another challenge which both companies will face in the 21st century.
Alright, so you've seen how Microsoft and IBM have failed more or less like lately in the last century in the market. And the issue right now is to recognise and address these issues in order to move forward and become leaders again, as they were before. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. And the timing from the video.